Hi guys, so this video is going to be about spirituality and internal training. Spirituality is probably a phrase that most, if not all of you, are familiar with, but people use it in all sorts of different ways to mean all sorts of different things. So I'll start by defining what I mean by that. Now, spirituality to me is not about God or any kind of organising or creating intelligence or omnipotent being or anything like that, because I don't believe in any of those things. What I do believe is that there is an element of our innate humanity, an element of our consciousness perhaps, which goes beyond that which we currently understand. Will we ever understand it scientifically? I don't know. But that's the position that I come from, and I believe that through the conscious practice of seeking to improve the connection between our mind, our spirit and our body, we can improve ourselves as people almost immeasurably. And that is the purpose of spiritual practice to me. Internal training is perhaps a phrase that you might be less familiar with. It's more often than not used in martial arts circles, but I like it because I think it's accurate, because that is, at the end of the day, what you're trying to do. This is training not for your body, but for what lies within your body, the essence of who you are. And by focusing on improving that, you can, in my opinion, become a better version of yourself. Now, there are other aspects to spirituality and internal training, namely, by various names, the concept of energy. Now, in martial arts internal training, that would most often be referred to as chi, or breath energy. I believe that's the most accurate translation. People on my friends list who I'm sure will correct me if that's not the case. But I believe breath energy is a pretty good translation for what chi refers to. And I believe that that is the same energy that is talked about by people who do qigong healing, spiritual healing, any of those kinds of things. Any of you have known me for a long time, none of this will be news to you. But it may be to some of you who maybe haven't known me for as long. And my beliefs about this subject are pretty constantly evolving, and so my practice is also constantly evolving as a result. At this point in time, there are three main components to what I'm doing to attempt to hone my spirit and improve myself. The one which I try to do most often is static meditation, so meditation when you're not moving. This could be seated, standing, lying down, any number of permutations in between. And essentially, the basic concept is, at least in my practice, to achieve silence of mind. And you might think, oh, that sounds really easy, but it isn't, because our minds quite simply are not designed to do that. They're designed to constantly be chattering and assessing things, working things out, imposing our ideas upon them to try and make sense of the world. And all of that gets in the way of any kind of spiritual improvement. If we can learn through the practice of meditation to quiet that chatter, then we can begin to hear what else is going on. I believe it was the Dalai Lama who said, when you speak, you're only repeating what you already know. But if you listen, then you may learn something new. And that is one of the core principles that drives all of my spiritual practice. because silence, inside and outside, is one of the most powerful spiritual things I've come across. The most powerful spiritual experiences I've had in my life have been centred around silence in one way or another. Now, I've actually already made a video on the basic meditation techniques, so I'm not going to go into that here because it's just made the video too long and I've already done one anyway. So I'll link that in the description, or it's on my channel, you can find it easy enough. Now, the second aspect of my training is moving meditation, dynamic meditation, and that can take many different forms. One of the ones that probably most of you have heard of is yoga, and I do a form of yoga as part of my spiritual practice. I'll talk a little bit about the specific type of yoga that I do towards the end and tell you how you can go about learning it yourself if you wish to. Now, the difference between moving meditation and static meditation, in my opinion, is that moving meditation not only allows you to cultivate the spirit, but it also brings the mind and the body into the equation as well. And so you can work more on cultivating the connection between all three. I use static meditation as a way to let go of my physical existence and listen to what's beyond that, whereas I use moving meditation to connect what is beyond my physical existence with my physical existence. And there are a variety of different ways that you can do that. If this is something that's new to you and you do end up trying something out, whether it be yoga or the type of yoga that I talk about later on, or something else, my opinion, and again, I'm not a teacher or anything like that, this is all just from my personal experience, but my opinion is that the best place to start is with focusing on the movements themselves, not just on what you have to do, but deeper than that, how does it feel? What involuntary things does your body do in order to accomplish that movement? Are there things that your body's doing that you're not in control of? Muscles supporting the movement, ligament and bone structure, strengthening your posture, how the feelings in your skin and your nervous system change as you move your body, and just focusing on that to the exclusion of all else can be quite a powerful experience if you're in the right state of mind and you're relaxed enough that you can let go of anything outside of what you're doing. Focusing on the movements in that way will give you a connection to your body that few other things can, and it feels wonderful, genuinely does, when you can really tune into how your body moves and how it all works together and how everything's connected. The understanding that you can gain from that is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. It will change the way you look at this body that you live in, if you let it. And the specific type of yoga that I was going to talk about is called Red Dragon Taoist Yoga. So it's a bit different than any of the traditional Indian yoga that you may have seen. Now, I'm not in any way qualified to teach it, so I'm not going to talk about that. What I am going to talk about is why I like it and where I got it from. So the reason that I like this particular dynamic meditation, which is just one of several that I do, is I think it has a really nice balance between the spiritual, mental and physical aspects of dynamic meditation training. It's you can do it in a variety of different ways. You can do it as purely a health exercise, and it is wonderful for that. If you work at a desk all day like I do, your back will love this. Assuming you have no other back problems, your back will love this. If it's more the internal side of it that you're looking for, there are all kinds of ways that you can develop that, which are explained in the source I got it from. And as you develop and practice it in different ways, you'll get all sorts of different things out of it. I just love it. So it's called Red Dragon Dashed Yoga, and if you're interested in learning it, you will need to go to warriorbodybuddhamind.com, which is the website for the martial arts organisation that I've been fortunate enough to learn a great deal from. And I apologise in advance for butchering your name, but it's run by Sifu Gary Harefield and Sifu Krista Vertfosh. That is probably terrible, I apologise. And they are both extremely knowledgeable, very good people, and there's a couple of different ways you can learn it. They have a distance learning program, which I would imagine you may be able to learn it through. They also have a video which you can just buy, which is like a general instructional on it. But if you do like it, then I can absolutely recommend their personal tuition through distance learning or otherwise. I've trained with Sifu Krista, and he's by far the best teacher I've ever had. Now, so I will move on from talking about the dynamic meditation at this point, because the video is getting quite long. So the last part of my current spiritual practice is pretty simple. It's being in nature, walking through nature, sitting in nature, standing in nature, doing static and dynamic meditations outside in nature. There are a few things that your spirit will thank you more for than spending time in the natural world untouched by man. There's nothing like it. If you can combine being in nature with practicing silence, I would find it difficult to form the words to describe to you how wonderful an experience that can be. I think probably one of the most beautiful experiences of my life was on a very pretty little island called Mull off the west coast of Scotland, standing on top of a ridge with a very good friend, just looking out across the forest and the wild landscape that was in front of me, and everything else just went away. It's happened a few times in my life, but that's the one that really sticks in my mind. Everything just went away, and all that was left was my spirit, just bathing in the beauty that was before me, and I don't know how else to describe it, but go and experience that, find that for yourself. You will never regret it. I guarantee you that you'll never regret it. So I think for now I have rambled on quite long enough. We're getting towards 15 minutes, which is really quite long. I don't know if any of you would have found this interesting. I hope you did. If nothing else, I hope you have something to say. If you do, there's a comments box underneath the video. If you liked it, tell me that. There's a like button on whatever platform you're watching this on. And if you think somebody else in your life might benefit from some of the things that I've said, or might be interested in starting a discussion, please share the video. I think conversations like this are more important than ever in a world where, as a society and as a civilization, we seem to be losing sight of our humanity. And cultivation of the spirit is a surefire way to counteract that, in my opinion. So this is my little way of trying to do something to give back to this world that has given you so much. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. I hope you're all well, happy and healthy. And I hope we can have a conversation about this. Bye for now.